Flow didn't just drop in 2024, it swept into animation like a force of nature. When you first start watching the movie, you'll notice this isn't your typical family-friendly cartoon with talking animals. It's a wordless film told through pure visual poetry. The story follows a cat navigating a world consumed by floods with animation that feels like a living painting. It didn't just earn critical acclaim, it won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature in 2025. And yet, it seems like many still haven't heard of it. So, is Flow an overlooked animated masterpiece or just too niche for mainstream audiences? Find out today as we watch another movie at Grandma's house. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Make yourself comfy. I'm your host, Isaac. Meow. And who's joining me to review the movie Flow?
This is Seth.
And I'm Ben.
I'm glad to see all you visiting Grandma's house. We have a special guest with us, Ben. How are you?
How are you guys?
Looks nice and sunny out there.
Oh, yes.
And it's great to see you, Seth. How you doing?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
Doing well. Doing awesome. So excited to get into this film because this is one that got a lot of acclaim. We're going to talk about that more as we get into it. But before we do, we want to tell you, the listener at home, that we're going into spoiler territory. So from here on out, consider yourself warned. Before we jump into it, let's get some film facts. So this film, Flow, was released in the United States on November 22nd, 2024. And it's a European movie, so the budget was in euros. It was 5 million euros. The box office, 50 million euros. Looking around at some of the reviews, IMDb has a 7.9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 97%. Letterboxd sits at a 4.1 out of 10. Currently, as of this recording, you can watch it for free on HBO Max. It stars a cat, a dog, whale, capybara, a lemur, secretary bird, and many more animals. This was in association with Baltic Content Media, UFO Distribution, and Lepark Distribution. And if I butchered any of those names, again, this is a European film, so bear with me. But first things first, we got to get to
Granny's family-friendly rating for Flow is A- for a few intense scenes.
All right, so there we go. Even as a recent film, our first memories. So Ben, as our guest, what are some first memories you have with this film?
So the first time I saw this was with my wife, and I was just kind of blown away. The story, the graphics, just everything was just awesome.
Awesome, yeah. How about you, Seth?
I had seen this movie twice now, but I watched it for the first time 5 months ago, so that was really cool.
Yeah, again, this is within the last year, but I'll be honest, I didn't really watch it till after it won the Oscar because it wasn't till 2025. This came out in 2024, but it got my attention. I was like, wow, this looks really cool. The animation style I was thinking this is different, but it looks really seamless again, just kind of smooth. And I was like, okay, I've heard some reviews and watched it. I think it was earlier this year. So probably within the last 5 months, kind of like with you, Seth. And it was a fun trip, a really fun experience. But with that said, that was still fairly recent. What were your expectations maybe before you saw it, or if you went back on the rewatch?
Great things about it. So I tried to keep an open mind, but it was kind of hard to do because there was a lot of acclaim. So
That's right. Yeah. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, and I saw it pretty much right when it came out, so I had no expectations. I didn't know what I was going into, so it was completely fresh.
Yeah. Sometimes that's good, though, when you just don't know what to expect with movies. You just go in fresh. And fortunately, with trailers, they give away so much. So we'll get into it. Maybe that'll add to the experience you can share with us. Well, before we get into our plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsor. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. All right. In this case, we're going to pull it up on HBO Max streaming. We're going to select Flow and press play.
This no-dialogue movie centers on a cat whose home gets flooded. To keep afloat, it relies on another animals gathered on a boat. As you take this journey, you go through quite a bit of emotions, taking a stunning visuals and sounds. Sit down at Grandma's, have a snack, get cozy, and enjoy.
There you go. Yeah, this is quite the experience, I have to say. Just for me personally, first impressions was, again, the animation. It's really cool, but it really, I don't know, it just has a sense of drawing you in. But I want to get to you guys. So let's start with you, Ben. What are kind of your first impressions when you start watching this film?
It's deep. It's it's very artsy, the style. And right away, it was pulling on my heartstrings without them, the animals even saying anything. It's just, like I said, it's just pulling on your heartstrings. You kind of start feeling empathetic as the movie goes on with the characters. So that's my impressions going on.
Right on. Yeah, no, I'm with you. You feel that just as much as these are animals and it's just them interacting with the environment and other animals. I got that same sense too. It just immediately pulls you in and you can't help but feel their emotions that they're going through as much as they're animals. So what about you, Seth?
So the visuals and lack of dialogue left me aware of what's going on, like you guys were saying. It had me in interest at minute 1. So I was really sucked in and really captivated.
Yeah, I mean, it sucked you in right away. I'm trying to think if it got me the first minute, but it definitely, within the first few minutes for sure, I was locked in. It does a really good job of that. It's just, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just unique. That's probably the word that comes to my mind. I haven't seen a movie like this in recent memory that's just able to captivate you. And I do a bad job of this, but I'll bring out my kids. Like they were kind of, other than obviously the movie, they were the star of the show because they were immediately drawn in and they were like giving commentary of the movie. What's going to happen? What's this? Oh, watch. Oh, and their reactions. It was an absolute blast. I was having a great time with the movie. I was enjoying it. But this is a movie, if you have little ones, if you have ones that also get immersed in these kinds of movies, I think it's unlike anything I've ever experienced, at least in recent memory. But yeah, open everything. What else kind of stuck out to you? Come back to you, Ben. Just anything about it, the animation or characters, those types of things.
I felt like there was a lot of symbolism, or the movie could be interpreted different ways depending on the people's point of view. So that's what I liked about it is, I could watch it, you guys could watch it, and we could all take away something different that we think the movie's about. Perhaps some of the people, perhaps some of the things I've looked up is like people think that it's like trying to overcome obstacles in life and how we can apply it as an adult. Yeah, it can go 100 different ways.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's maybe what's so appealing about it is it lets you use your imagination. We've had movies that we've considered, and I've kind of knocked a few of them, and it's not that I don't like it, but some of them have too much narration. They're telling you every little detail about the movie, and sometimes you do need that, but just imagine if there's a narration on this. I think it would have made it a completely different movie. This is more of, like you're saying, Ben, you might think it's about this or these types of emotions. You, the viewer, kind of get to decide that. And that's what's really appealing to me personally, for sure. What about you, Seth?
Well, like diving into the film, in this tale, we find the struggles of many animals who are trying to stay above water as a large portion of the area is flooded. So it's quite a story told without words. It's quite a bit of action going on around you, and you're just trying to take it all in at once because there's so much without words. I mean, it's just so moving and, like you guys both said, emotional.
Right. It's amazing how it does that. Like, one thing that's kind of built up, and this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but there's this dynamic between the cat, because you're following the cat. The cat's kind of that main character, but you're still seeing all these other characters, and they're, trying to survive this flood. That's the big plot, is there's this flood, and they're trying to get to higher ground or they're in a boat, whatever they can do. But it follows the cat and the cat gets into a lot of trouble like cats typically do. One thing I noticed is that whale or whatever you want to call it is normally there to save it. So jumping way ahead, it was kind of I was like, wow, I'm really sad when it hints that the whale doesn't make it because the water goes down and it's capsized. It's on land. So that's an example, but open up to you guys. What other examples about that? Like just kind of, I don't know, hits you emotionally or just kind of brings you in? What kind of stuck out to you?
For me, like I was blown away by pretty much everything in the movie. I can't really pick out too many like single scenes that were moving. I feel like, especially towards the end, it was just very touching and heartwarming. And it just, you wouldn't assume that going into it if you knew what the movie was about.
Yeah, I agree with that. How about you, Ben?
I think the scene that got me, I would say if I could pick one scene in the entire movie that like was like, oh, like a kind of more of an intense moment was when the one bird got like bullied by and rejected by its friends and had to basically join forces with the cat and try to survive and everything. And then the whole it climbing a mountain, descending up into the sky, maybe it's symbolism for something, who knows. But it just just that scene and little scenes throughout the movie, I don't know, that they just knew how to do it to, like I said before, pull on your heartstrings.
You stole the words out of my mouth.
It really does. It just does a really good job with it. And that is probably one of the more, if you want to call it, intense, because for the most part, this whole movie, again, I have little ones. They're like around 5-ish years old, that type of thing. They're really young. And it wasn't too much for them. It's a movie that they ate it up. They were really hooked. They were really paying attention. And that's saying something. Not all movies do that, but it kept their attention. But even with that, that's like the only scene I would say is maybe a little intense with where they're fighting and it ends up damaging its wing. It can't fly after that. So like what you're saying, they also don't really show any animals, quote unquote, die. I'm guessing that was its way of saying that it eventually dies, but it doesn't show it like graphically or anything. So that's another thing I appreciate about this movie is it's pretty much suited for all ages, I would say. There's not really anything other than maybe that conflict, maybe a little bit of scary scenes with the dogs and stuff, things like that. But yeah. What else, Seth? It looked like you're going to say something to add to that too.
No, I just agree with you. It's so, I don't know how to describe it, like straightforward, that it keeps your attention, even though what's going on is like at sometimes intense. It feels like it evens out. It balances pretty well. And I guess you kind of like forget about what's going on and you kind of just glued in the moment. At least I was glued in for each moment.
Yeah. There's a lot of funny moments. I think that's another thing. Like, I really love the lemur. It's just always scavenging and grabbing stuff. And it's distraught over that mirror and other items, like if they're messing with it and stuff like that. I thought that was really funny. My kids lost it when the cat tried to stand up on its hind legs and walk. They thought that they were like doing the belly laugh giggles and stuff. Again, it was just a fun experience. There's a lot of heart, but there's also some humor to it. I have to open it up to you guys. Like what animal, I guess, you can't really say like the character's name because they don't really have a name. They're just known as that animal. But yeah, maybe start with you, Ben. What was maybe your favorite animal or character?
The lemur was funny because it liked to hoard everything and steal everything, and it would get mad when its items would go away. But I want to say my favorite has to be the dog because he showed a lot of emotion, wanting to play, wanting to be a typical dog, but then also like you could sense when he was, he felt other animals' feelings and felt sad for them. And, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yes. Yeah. The dog was fun. It was, kind of that troublemaker, like dogs can be sometimes. It didn't mean any harm, but it was just kind of, it wasn't clumsy. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it just got them into trouble at times. So I love that dynamic. It kind of offset because they were kind of serious. for the most part. The characters are trying to like survive, and he's kind of the playful, like, hey, what's going on, guys? Like you're saying, but he still has that emotion, that heart with the characters. But yeah, how about you, Seth? What character did you enjoy?
I loved all the animals. Each brought something to the table. So they all had their little things about them, their quirks or something, their personalities, I guess. And I really enjoyed each one of their character, them as a character.
Yeah. For me, I'm kind of with you, Seth. Like, it's hard to say my favorite. I mean, the lemur, again, is kind of that funny, breaks it up a little bit. But I do like, I always say it wrong, the capybara, it kind of looks like a big gopher kind of creature. He's like the level-headed of the group. He's like always there to like, he comes in with the boat at that one point, just kind of like, jump in, like, come on, let's go. And at one point, the bird, I think the cat fell off the boat, and those birds are trying to mess with the cat. That's one thing I was noticing, is that one bird does stick up for him, and that's where he becomes the outcast. But the birds are like after him at the beginning. So the bird lands in the boat, and that capybara just stares him down. Like, what do you want? And it's so, again, it just sounds funny because there's no dialogue. There's nothing there, but you pick up those clues, those little just emotions and what they're trying to say from these animals. I can't get over it. I'm still blown away, like how well it captures that. And you're so immersed in it. It feels like you're in the boat with them because they all join up together too. I mean, it's just great. But yeah, what else do you guys want to bring out or touch on?
I think what's really cool that I want to, it almost like with this movie, there's a lot of unanswered questions. And I like that. Like, for instance, the opening scene, the cat is on a bed and it's in a house, but there's no people ever seen in the movie. So, and then there's these wooden carvings of cats and other animals throughout the movie. So it's like, what happened to the people? Was there a flood previous that happened and wiped out everybody, and the animals are the only ones left to defend themselves when the flood comes again? So, there's just so many questions.
Yeah. That goes back to your imagination. I'm with you. I love that it doesn't have to tell you every little detail. You can just kind of use your imagination. It does kind of feel like a video game in a way. Mm-hmm. Like if you've played a video game where you're a character and it's followed, it does that in a lot of video games where it doesn't have to tell you everything. You're just immersed in the environment. You're kind of uncovering the clues. And sometimes it is a mystery, but you can kind of fill in the blanks. And that's something I really love. Yeah, that's a great point, though, is it's just allowing you to just run with it. Just be in that world. You don't have to know every little detail. Like, who is the previous cat's owners and what's its favorite food? Does it like Friskas? Does it like wet food? It doesn't matter. It's just enjoy the movie, Like, some movies get a little overkill on that. Wouldn't you agree, Seth?
Yeah. I just wanted to say real quick that I was delighted with this one. I was mesmerized, overwhelmed with the simplicity of storytelling. It's quite the animated film. I feel like the somewhat simple animation helps not to get my senses too overloaded or out of control. But at times it was stunning. And the colors and the paint are a gorgeous picture. So it was really told well, although there was no words.
Yeah. It's a well-crafted movie. I mean, you see the hype of why this got an Oscar, not just nomination, but it won the Oscar. So when you see it for yourself, I mean, you got to give it respect. Maybe you're like, oh, I wish there was more talking or something. I don't know. Maybe people have their own opinions and that's fine. But I think everybody can just see like, this is really well done. It's just well crafted. Great storytelling. Again, despite no dialogue, despite no information. You don't know these characters' names. You just know them as the cat. You know them as the dog, so on and so forth. So yeah, it was a fun ride. It was just a great experience. I think we all agree with that. But let's get to it. I'm really excited to hear because I'm sure there's some good ones, Seth. What kind of fun facts do you got?
All right. Because the budget of the film was so tight, there are no deleted scenes from the film. Every scene produced in this film is in the final cut of the movie.
That's incredible. I don't know. What did you think of that, Ben?
That's incredible.
We're in agreement. We're in unison.
Yes.
The next one I found was this was the first independent film to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Film. So this is first independent film. So that's pretty amazing.
Man. That is interesting to think about. That I would think there was maybe another one. I know there's so many independent films.
They win a lot of shorts. A lot of foreign films win shorts, but this independent film company or whatever, the production companies, weren't a big budget production.
Wow. That's really cool. I think it's well deserved. That's something else to put on its resume for sure.
Oh, yeah. The next one, and bear with me with a couple of these because of the pronunciations, but this one, okay. So in a Q&A for the New Zealand International Film Festival, the director said that the animals were only ever referred to by their species, cat, retriever, etc. The animals were never named, just as you mentioned. Both of you, actually.
Yeah. That's what I love about it, though. I mean, we kind of brought it out. Just they let you use your own imagination. I mean, you could say the cat's name is Bill, and you wouldn't be wrong. I mean, you could just refer him to whatever. But that's great. I love that. Yeah.
So the last one here is at the end of the Oscar acceptance speech, director Gens Zilbaitis said, "Yeah, we're all in the same boat. We must find ways to overcome our differences and work together." I thought that was brilliant.
Yes. Very well put. And I commend you. Give you a applaud because I would have butchered that name.
I don't know if I might have butchered it. I don't know.
I know I would have said it like completely wrong. So that sounded right to me. I think you did good.
But now it's time for a fun fact trivia question. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right. So as you mentioned earlier, the lemur in the film clings to the belongings symbolizing what exactly? All right. So I'll ask that again. The lemur in the film clings to belongings symbolizing what exactly? A, greediness, B, attachment and personal boundaries, or C, selfishness?
Well, as our guest, I'm going to let Ben give his answer first.
I'm locked in at C.
Hey, and Isaac?
I think I'm going to go with A. I was thinking C. That was my second choice, but I'm going to go with A. I'm hoping one of us is right.
I must write these questions too well. It's B, attachment and personal boundaries. So the lemur clings tightly to its possessions throughout the film, symbolizing attachment and personal boundaries until it eventually learns to care for others over material things.
So that's what tripped me up is I was like, well, he was kind of giving of himself, but it wasn't until the end.
Yeah.
And I should have thought of that because that is the whole, like you're saying, it represents that, but he lets go. Because like at the end, the boat, when the water goes down, they rescue the cat. And I think he had to give up something, if I'm remembering right, and the boat and all of his stuff goes over. But he let go. So that kind of showed that. That's really cool. Again, just full circle on stuff. What did you think of that, Ben?
Yeah, it's that's interesting. That's all I can say. Just interesting, man.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll get it next time. I'm
sorry about that, guys.
I think I'm 2 for 20 by now, but I'll try to get that. No. I'll get better. I know I will. So, but thank you for that. I really like that one. That was an interesting one that just kind of hits you when you think about it more and more. All right. Before we get down to our reviews, we like to look around the net, just kind of see what kind of reviews are out there. So, Seth, what kind of reviews are you seeing?
Beach Life says, mesmerizing, beautiful animation, 10 out of 10.
Wow. 10 out of 10. Yep. I can hear that. That's been a lot of the receptions. A lot of them here I've been hearing. So, not surprised.
All right. So, Little Miss Lee said, my 2-year-old daughter found this on HBO Max streaming, and it's the best thing ever. 10 out of 10.
Wow. We've got 2 10s going. I think there's been another time. So I'm anxious to hear the last one. Will it get the turkey?
All right. So we've had another repeat offender here. The _writer 2004 says, one of the most captivating and emotional tales you'll ever see. 9 out of 10.
But still.
No turkey.
No turkey.
But did you pick up the spare at least?
There you go. So close, but that's 9 is still, I'm trying to think, I don't give 9s out very often. So, that's remarkable that it's still got a 9 there. So, all right. Well, let's get down to it. I don't know if there's going to be much surprise. We'll find out. There could be. So, We're going to start with Ben because he is our guest. So I got to ask you the question for the movie Flow. How are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
This is one I've been debating. So I love the movie. It is a great movie. Do I want to watch it right now? Maybe depending on what sort of mood I'm in. So I would gladly watch it again at grandma's house, but perhaps watch it at home. So mostly in the middle.
So we would probably call that a high ranking tier of watching at grandma's is probably what we would say.
Yes.
One that if you're visiting grandma's, that might be one of the first ones you put on.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. That's a great and respectable rating. I was like, maybe there'll be that kind of a rating going on. So that's cool. That's great. All right. Let's get to you, Seth. How are you going to rate it?
So besides the bird fight, which we mentioned, this picture, in my opinion, is just about perfect and very family friendly. I have to take this home. It's visually a visual masterpiece.
There you go. Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, Ben. It's like this does hit you emotionally. So this is actually one of those films. We've reviewed ones in the past, kind of like Ratatouille, where I think it's one of the better movies that we've reviewed, honestly. And I gave that kind of like you with Ben. It's like I want to be in the right mood to watch it. However, I think I could watch this movie anytime. I do understand the take of just when you want to time it. For me, I do have little ones. I have kids. They'll see the preview and they immediately are like, can we watch it? It's one of those movies in my household. So I've got to take this home. It's that rating for me. I think it's one of those, brace yourself. As much as this is about animals surviving the elements, it does tug at your heart. Maybe it's one of those movies to prepare yourself. I mean, it's nothing too intense, like Seth mentioned. Maybe that one scene with the birds, but it's not even that bad. It's just compared to the rest of the movie. That's maybe more tense. So, all right, folks, there you go. There's another film in the book. So we thank you so much for coming on, Ben, and reviewing it. It was such a blast getting your thoughts on it. We want to make sure you get some of the spotlight now so you can tell people where they can connect and find. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on TikTok, toybox_gamer 1 on TikTok. I'm very active on there, so message me. And then toyboxgamer on YouTube, just one word, and you'll see my content on there. And I also have 2 fun facts, if you don't mind, about this movie.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
So the first fun fact is they didn't like how the capybara sounded when they did the audio, so they actually used a camel for the voice of the capybara.
I found that too.
Wow.
And then the other fun fact was this was actually produced on Canva, and if you go on Canva's website, they will show you how to do the animation for Flow on their website.
Wow.
That's crazy. I thought I heard something about the program they use. I didn't know it was Canva.
Yeah.
That's a free, you can get a premium, but that's a free program. So I could see this inspiring a lot of animators out there. That's maybe the hurdle they got to go over is I don't have the processor, the programs to do it. Well, there you go. That's really cool to keep in mind. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you for that. And yeah, be sure to check out Ben on those platforms. Be sure to give him a follow, a like, and all that good stuff to support his cause. He's got some cool stuff he does reviews on. And being Toy Box Gamer, he's all about toys and nostalgia. So what isn't there to love about it? So let's make sure we also tell people where they can find us. So Seth, where can people find and connect with us?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a newsletter, so keep up to date with all things Movies at Grandma's House. We're on Patreon. And go to movieposters.com and type in Grandma's House at checkout for 15% off.
There you go. Well, again, a big thank you to you, Ben. You're welcome back anytime, but thank you for sharing those insights and the fun facts and all that good stuff. We look forward to having you back to Grandma's soon. Oh, yeah. But with that said, that's going to be our time at Grandma's. But don't worry, we will return soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.